Hey guys, Ron here, and I'm not gonna pretend like every Pokemon is great. Sometimes a Pokemon evolves and I wish it stayed as cute or cool as it was in its previous form. There are times where my expectations are not fulfilled, and the evolved form of a Pokemon is a lazy iteration of the previous form or poorly executes the concept the entire line was building up towards. Well, that's what the video's about. Those Pokemon. Evolutions are usually unpopular due to hype and fan expectations. Perhaps their prevos were very popular, so most of these aren't bad Pokemon or designs. I'll be going in a loose order. We'll start with the Pokemon who are better than their previous forms, but not by much, then end up with Pokemon that are substantially disappointing. I'm gonna stay away from entire families of Pokemon that are disappointing, or middle stages that aren't up to par, because most middle stages are just awkward transitional stages. It's easy to understand. Let's begin with number 20. Pidgeot. By itself, Pidgeot's a cool Pokemon, and obviously it's in the bottom spot, so it's not too disappointing. I'm not throwing my Game Boy against the wall when my Pidgeotto evolves. But the only substantial difference in concept between Pidgeot and its Prevo is that its hair is longer. I mean, it's cool, but Pidgeotto's hair is cool too. But I'm not gonna pretend like Pidgeot is worse. Honestly, Mega Pidgeot should have been its normal form. Similar normal types like Stoutland still have a vastly different design than their Prevo, even though the general concept is relatively similar. But I simply don't gain much satisfaction training this line, because there's barely a transformation. Number 19. Thievul. This fox is a thief. That's such a basic and overdone concept, so I never expected Nickit to evolve into something so unoriginal when I first encountered it. Thievul is gentlemanly, so it's not too plain, but I already got the thief vibe from Nickit. There isn't any new addition to the idea other than a more pronounced mask and a ascot. Oh yeah, the mustache, but I'm not gonna go crazy over a mustache. To me, it's just an adult Nickit, nothing clever, but nothing terrible either. It's not like it's worse than Nickit, that's why it's relatively low. But I'm not gonna lie, it's not the last fox Pokemon here. Number 18. Gothitelle. Okay, at least the design is different compared to Gothorita, which is based on Gothic Lolita, while Gothitelle is a bit more gothic. But Gothorita has a way more cohesive, appealing, and beautiful design, while Gothitelle looks more amorphous and messy. It's not a terrible progression, it makes sense. Short skirt evolves into long dress. We've seen it in Generation 3. But not many people would say Gothitelle is more chic than Gothorita. And when you make an entire line based on fashion, you better make the final evolution the most stylish of the bunch. Number 17. Behem. So it seems Unova Psychics aren't as out of this world as I would have wanted them to be. Behem's concept is great, an alien that looks like a government agent, but that idea could have been executed way cooler. Its trench coat and hat are barely noticeable, so people judge this family based on how cute these two are. And Algium wins. It's not amazing in battle, so what else would people take away from this dude other than its design? Certainly not its voice. Number 16. Meowstic. This Pokemon is far from terrible. I actually feel bad for including it. I'm sorry, Meowstic, but this all comes down to how amazing your Prevo is. Esper is such a charming Pokemon through and through, but then it evolves into two French cats. I mean, they look nice, but they're way less interesting than Esper. They're also like the 7th cat Pokemon with split tails. Esper set us up for something epic. This child cannot contain its powers. Meowstic can though, so it's pretty anticlimactic, but they do look neat. Number 15. Ursaluna. It's debatable whether or not Ursaluna is more entertaining than Ursaring. Ursaluna looks more powerful, but Ursaring looks more vicious. I mean, that's kind of the point, the dude's mellow, but its design is also fairly messy. I know that's also the point, but it's just not what many of us thought Ursaring's Evo would look like. It's clever, what with the dirt on its face mimicking clouds in front of the moon. I still really like it more than the average person though, but my first impression wasn't as positive, since its model in-game has much to be desired. Number 14. Boltund. Now we're getting to the more famously disappointing Pokemon. Again, Boltund's fine. I enjoy its presence. If it was real, it would be my best friend, but so would Yamper. The difference is that Boltund is the definition of an underwhelming evolution. It looks less fantastical than Yamper. It's a very realistic, slim yellow dog. And sure, its tail looks like lightning when it attacks, but like every electric type has that feature. It's the default by now. The 3D model is really what does it dirty in the long run. The color scheme is very unappealing inside the game. Number 13. Dubwool. I'm actually a fan of this soccer ball sheep. I fully expected Wooloo to evolve into a Pokemon that looks like this. The problem is that Wooloo is one of the most popular Gen 8 Pokemon, and people were anticipating unrealistic concepts like Wooloo evolving into Baphomet or a wolf in sheep's clothing. In the end, it's mostly here because it was not as wild as the imagination of millions of fans. Number 12. Poliwrath, or as I like to call it, Angry Poliwhirl. One of the most uncreative evolutions in Generation 1. I'm not a fan when people use the word literally to disparage something, but it's literally just a tougher looking Poliwhirl. Oh, it's got fingers now. Revolutionary, I know. I do like that it looks a bit more like a frog now, but it's barely a new species. Politoed is the extreme opposite of this though. It looks nothing like a Poliwhirl. Number 11. Quagsire. Another case of the unevolved form being way more popular and appealing. It loses all the iconic features Wooper has. It's still cute, but Wooper is undoubtedly cuter. Those gills give it personality, and the lack of arms made Wooper look precious, and even the Wi-Fi patterns was charming. Now Quagsire has no memorable features. It's an adult salamander, nothing more to the concept. Number 10. Muck. This is one of the most egregious design-wise. When Grimer evolves, it simply becomes a bigger pile of sludge. Not even a different color, or an extra appendage. It gets angrier, but all evolved forms look more menacing. It's a shame because its counterpart, Weezing, has a completely different vibe and concept than Coughing. It's more mutated. Muck isn't. Alolan Muck is way more creative in comparison, in concept and differences from Alolan Grimer. Number 9. Colossal. In a recent video about controversial Pokemon, I already spoke enough about Colossal's design. Check that video out if you haven't. I described how many fans fully expected Carkol to evolve into a train. I mean, 1 wheel, 4 wheels, 16 wheels seems like the next step. This man's got 0 wheels though. I want wheels. Gimme wheels. Now we have a generic looking coal monster. Its steam engine inspired Gigantamax form is awesome. Something like that should have been the evolved form. But others are actually relieved because they don't like wheels on their Pokemon. Well, those people must not like Generation 9. Number 8. Sneasler. This is a weird looking man. I know there are certain fans that have an affinity for this creature, but it's not exactly what I was hoping Hisuian Sneasel was gonna evolve into. Its color scheme is excellent, and its individual parts are fine, but together it looks too humanoid. Number 7. Crabominable. Most of us wanted a hardened boxing champion crab, a true underdog story. What we got was an abominable Yeti crab. Now think of this video as a sequel to my recent controversial Pokemon video. While in that video I described how many fans still like it for some clever design choices, in this video I don't have to be nice. This dude's ugly and completely unexpected. Still a fan though. Number 6. Ambipom. What was once cute is now creepy, and I don't think it was intentional. The literal only attribute that adds any value to this design is Ambipom's 2 tails. Every other aspect is simply less appealing than what Aipom has. I need to know if there are any people who prefer Ambipom for anything other than the fact that it's stronger than Aipom. Number 5. Delphox. By now it's clear that the most controversial Pokemon are those that are considered disappointing. Delphox is an example. I'll go ahead and say it. Braixen's a fantastic design, but the design philosophies and stiff pose Delphox has in this game doesn't do it justice. Honestly, it's literally just the angle of its fur that breaks the aesthetic. Check out this amazing subtle redesign by Silvor. It fixes the design completely, yet nothing was added. The color scheme has more contrast, the wand is now a staff, and the face and ear fur faces upwards, avoiding the awkward horizontal proportions of the original design's head. Number 4. Inteleon. Just the fact that I know many hardcore Sobble fans that were truly devastated when Inteleon was leaked or revealed is a testament to how botched this design was. Because of its creative origin, admittedly cool personality, and detailed design, there are still many Inteleon fans, but it's the #1 Pokemon whose proportions are completely despised. Even its fans wish it were thicker and more feral looking. While it takes some time to determine the exact flaws of Delphox's design, it's easy to see what went wrong with Inteleon. Number 3. Rhyperior. Rhydon was already pretty cool. The problem is they simply made a clunkier Rhydon. They tried with the rock cannon arms, but even though I actually enjoy the protector aesthetic, it makes it look less effortlessly intimidating. Rhydon seems wild and complete, while Rhyperior's design tries a bit too hard to add to an already great design. It's not a natural progression either. It feels like a Mega Rhydon. To many, it tainted an iconic family. Number 2. Female Unpheasant. I was one of those unlucky souls who caught a female Pidove, not knowing that female Unpheasant even existed. When my Tranquil was evolving, I was ready to get a flamboyant pheasant, but I received a pitiful pigeon. It's uglier than Tranquil. Of course, this sexual dimorphism is realistic, but it's more insulting when there is a better looking option. Before revealing the most disappointing and underwhelming evolved form in Pokemon, here are some dishonorable mentions. Seeking, or as I like to call it, Reverse Milotic, is clearly more unappealing than Goldeen, but that's kind of the concept. Slurpuff is underwhelming, but not extremely. It's debatable whether or not Swirlix is cuter, so it still has value. Simisear is terrible, but did we expect Pansear to evolve into something good? It looks like the natural next step, honestly. Vanillux and Klinklang are interesting because technically they aren't underwhelming because their pre-evolved forms are worse. I'd definitely take Vanillux over Vanillish and Klinklang over Klang. The problem was the direction the entire family went in. It's not like things were going good and we were all of a sudden disappointed. We were already underwhelmed. And then there are a huge bunch of Pokemon some of you guys may find underwhelming, but I'm actually a huge fan of, and can't confidently put them on the list. Sceptile is my absolute favorite Pokemon, yet many prefer Grovyle. The community almost agrees that it is the best middle stage evolution, but just because Grovyle is so good, that doesn't mean a majority of fans dislike Sceptile. It's still very popular. The same exact thing can be said about Samurott. It could have been on the list, but gosh darn it, Samurott is one of my all-time favorite Pokemon as well. I'm a fan of Emboar too, and technically people aren't huge fans of Pignite either, so it's got the same technicality as Vanillux. Aegislash is definitely more popular than Doublade. In fact, you may be asking, where are the other Pokemon that only gain heads, like Dugtrio and Magneton? The answer is, if these Pokemon only gained one extra head, sure, they would be lame, but 3 heads? That's a party. It's a trifecta. It feels complete. It's definitely lazy in Dugtrio's case, but Magneton's concept calls for other magnets to be attracted to each other, but the number 1 spot didn't need to look the way it did. Number 1 is Aromatisse, my least favorite Pokemon, in part due to how disappointing it is. Spritzee is cute, practically flawless, but it could have been a beautiful flamingo or a menacing plague doctor, or a beautiful and menacing flamingo plague doctor. Instead, we got an awkwardly stout and lecherous can-can dancer that smells good. Ah, thank God it smells good. It's got that going for it. It's the Pokemon with some of the deepest design and lore inspirations, but executed so terribly, it became the least favorite Pokemon of a guy who likes 98% of all Pokemon. That guy's me, by the way. And if you want to see a video where I redesign some of these Pokemon like Ambipom and Behem, it's on screen right now. Leave a like if you enjoyed and subscribe if you haven't. Check the description for the music I used, the t-shirts I made for you guys, the links to my Patreon where you can get cool rewards like seeing my videos days early, which you can also do by clicking the join button. Make sure to follow me on Twitter too. Bye!